This is a Ramana Maharshi clip, a talk by Ramana Maharshi with comments by Richard Clarke. This is a time to listen, reflect, and deeply meditate. I'm Richard. Welcome. I'm reviewing and commenting on the book Talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi. Today is Talk 125. The Muslim professor, Dr. Said, asked, "When I am here, my mind is sattvic. As soon as I turn my back on this, my mind hankers after so many objects." Maharshi, are these objects different from you? There can be no objects without the subject. Dr. Said, and how shall I know it? Maharshi, being that, what do you want to know? Are there two selves for the one to know the other? Dr. Said, again, I repeat, sir, how to know the truth of all this and experience the same? Maharshi, there is no gaining of anything new. All that is required is to rid the self of ignorance. The ignorance is the identification of the self with the non-self. In this talk, Dr. Said continues his dialogue with Ramana Maharshi, asking about the nature of the mind, the self, and the quest for truth and self-realization. Dr. Said begins by expressing his experience of having a pure and tranquil sattvic mind when he is in the presence of Ramana. But when he leaves, his mind becomes restless and starts its desires of various external objects. These are vasanas, tendencies, rising. This common human experience of the mind's fluctuations is the starting point for their discussion. Ramana responds by posing a fundamental question. Are the objects different from you? There can be no objects without the subject. He invites Dr. Saad to contemplate the difference between the subject, the self, and the objects of desire. In Advaita Vedanta, the ultimate truth is that there is only one underlying reality, and all apparent distinctions are illusion. This is key to understanding Ramana's response. Dr. Saad, seeking clarity, asks how he can know this truth and experience it. Maharshi's answer, being that, what do you want to know? Are there two selves for the one to know the other? Ramana emphasizes the oneness of the self and the futility of seeking to know it as an object. The self is never an object of knowledge. It is the subject, the very essence of your being. The self is the knower, not the known. Dr. Saad persists, seeking guidance on how to rid himself of ignorance and realize this truth. Ramana's final statement is illuminating. There is no gaining of anything new. All that is required is to rid the self of ignorance. This ignorance is the identification of the self with the non-self. Ramana emphasizes that self-realization is not about acquiring something new, but rather shedding the false identification with the non-self, the illusion of separateness, and realizing your true nature. The shedding of misidentification is the reason behind self-inquiry. To let go of ignorance, you need to see it as ignorance. When you see the ego was never real to begin with, you start releasing your identification with the ego. In this dialogue, Ramana Maharshi beautifully encapsulates the essence of Advaita Vedanta, emphasizing the unity of the self, the illusory nature of external objects, and the path to self-realization through the removal of ignorance. The core message is that the truth is already within us. We only need to recognize it by letting go of false identifications and realizing our oneness with the self, of the self, with the ultimate reality. So inquire, know yourself, and be always free and at peace. These videos help bring Ramana Maharshi's teachings into your direct experience. Subscribe now